more seek in it align. Yes, okay. And then people think they have to do a whole bunch of they got to do a whole bunch of hoodoo. I'm sorry, YouTube family. I thought I had went live here. I did not. Please forgive Miss Penny. Please forgive me. Please. Um, People think they have to do a lot of magic, but I tell you, once you start doing ancestor veneration and you start healing, they start fixing your life. All that stuff you thought you had to do, you ain't got to do it no more. Now you got to think about, okay, what kind of magic do I want to do? What goals? Then you have time enough to start setting up goals and really planning out your magic and talking to them about your magic and them showing you stuff you ain't seen on here. Because you need your own stuff. The ancestors got their own way they do their stuff. They don't need nobody helping you. They don't need you going nowhere else. Now you said you need their help. Go to that altar and learn them herbs and spices, how to put stuff together, and ask them how they want you to do that. Okay, that's the best magic. Not what you see on here. Not what you see on here. Not what you see on here. Let them ancestors show you. They know better than anybody here that's showing you. Okay, I don't care about no initiation either. The initiation ain't above the ancestors. It's just not. I'm sorry it's that way, but it's that way. Okay, and them people, they think that's something, but on like the ancestor, we just covered that. In the spiritual realm, them people ain't even high ranking. That's why I ask them, when they get to acting crazy, I be asking them, but how you ranking in that spiritual realm though? I don't care about your initiation. How those spirits moving for you? You got that for the physical world to impress these people. How's your spiritual life? Because if your spiritual life, them spirits ain't gonna be met. They don't care about no initiation. They care about your discipline and your obedience, your word. They don't care about that. That might impress these people here, but that don't impress them over there. You get over there, they get over to the other side, and them spirits, they ain't studying them because you had that there, but when you cross over, you don't have that type of ranking over here. I'm telling you now. We just went over that and broke that all the way down. So people getting that kind of confused too. If your ancestors ain't told you to do that, don't go over there. Okay. Some of our ancestors already have that in our bloodline. If you want them to show you that, ask them that before you start jumping over there trying to get do stuff. Ask them to show you, work with you. Because when you start working with ancestors, there's no limit to what they'll show you. I done told you that now. I don't care what these folks saying, don't listen to these folks. When you talk to your ancestors, they're gonna tell you something different than what these folks telling you. It's gonna trip you out. And then they'll start showing you, how to do it, and then show you it's the truth. I'm telling you, you start when you start trusting the ancestors, you trust people less and less. Because they either don't know or they're not being forthcoming. That's what been my experience. And okay, that's been my experience. That's why you have some people they just don't tell you. Now, some people are naturally gifted. They can talk to these spirits directly. They can do it with ease. For some of us, we have to work at it. Not saying that you can't do it, but you'll just have to put in a little work, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you have to get used to seeing things in your mind eye, sensing things, sitting down, opening your mind in meditation. Some people say, I can't meditate. Well, you need to be sitting at 5 minutes at least, do it until you can go up into like 20 minutes and sit. If you can't do that, you need to be sitting somewhere in the park by yourself. Not on no social media or nothing like that. 'Cause you're gonna have to get yourself out off that. Have to ask people too. You want stuff to work, but if you're spending your time, you're not dedicating any time to spirit. You get in here what you put out. Whatever you put in, that's what you're gonna get out. I'm glad you came here too, Brown Girl Farms. Hi, Chrissy. Okay. Whatever you put in these spirits in, you have to have discipline. You see that on some of them you see them in the Harry Potter shows, some of these witch shows, and they be in there studying. They be somewhere trying to study and put stuff together and stuff, okay? and then you got to get somewhere and sit down. And a lot of us, we want somebody to sit here and tell us everything in the video and all that. That's not gonna get your mind right. You need to be seeing that black and white on paper. It took years for somebody to put poison in your mind and program you the wrong way. It's gonna take some minute for you to sit down somewhere and expand your consciousness and your mind, reprogram yourself and get yourself together. And you can't get nobody magic. I don't care how much you follow them and how much you love them and all this stuff. You can't get that magic. You're gonna have to get your own at the end of the day. The only far so far you're gonna get with that. And all of us had to sit down and learn something. And you're gonna have to do it too. You're not exempt. What you are saying makes sense and resonate. I've been thinking I need to ask for clarification. I mean, I always ask for clarification. I always ask for clarification. Don't do nothing. You thinking about doing some work? It's a time for everything. People was, what's happening is people seeing stuff and then they go do it tomorrow. Is that the right day to do it though? Is that energy? Because our ancestors used the natural elements around them to get their magic going. Is that in alignment? Is it alignment? Is the energy right for you to be doing the work? Are the energies present there for you to be doing the work? It has to be present if you want to see success. When somebody's telling me something ain't working, when did you do it? Did you ask your ancestors? How did you prepare for it? I got to start prying, engaging. It's something there that you missed. Once I get the prying, engaging, I find something that they missed. Okay. So if you're telling your practitioner that something didn't work, these are the questions they should be asking. When did you do it? Did you ask your ancestors to do it? How did you prepare for it? How did you prepare for it? Did you get cleansed before you did the work? Okay. All that stuff matters. That's why it's not good for them to go out here and start showing you stuff because magic is a science and it has to be aligned with the right energies for you to see success in it. We just don't go the next day and start doing it. Might be a planet, a star, or a planet in the sky that's going to be messing up all your energy. That's why a lot of practitioners don't like to do a lot of work doing Mercury retrograde because they can mess up your work. That's got to be right. All that got to be right. Okay, it's got to be. It matters. It's a science over here. Like I said, hoodoo is a science. That's why our ancestors keeping that almanac and they was hiding that work. They knew what they was doing. So again, that spiritual communication is going to come in handy when you're doing the work. When you're working with ancestors, you need to get that going before you pick up any work. Start messing with stuff. You need to again, if you're gonna be messing with anything, it need to be again on you, healing yourself, healing your mind. It need to be on you. Don't be doing no work on nobody else. Do it on you. Okay, to clean up your stuff and get your energy in alignment to be doing this kind of work. But you'll find when you start doing ancestral veneration and spiritual communication, you'll find yourself not having to do too much work like that. Okay, and the main thing that how these spirits gonna talk to you is basically what I'm telling you. It's gonna be a form of telepathy. It's not like what you think. Whenever you're talking to a spirit, it's usually gonna be telepathically. And I think that's why people miss it because they don't know their own thoughts. They got so much junk going on in their head. They don't know when the spirit is talking or this other junk and crap they got in their head. And that's got to be cleansed out. You got to know how to steal your mind. And Sunday social media didn't mess some of that up. You know, I was watching a movie the other day, and this how much I have stopped watching so much TV or even the stuff I used to watch. But I was watching this show last night, honey. It was just so gruesome on Netflix. These folks kept on um, getting unalived, and then they come back again, and then they get unalived again. It was just gruesome. I said, I don't even want to watch this. This is I ain't want it hurt to watch it. Seemed like it hurt my eyes. I had to turn my back to it. I said, let me turn this mess off. It hurt my eyes. It's like I don't even want to watch this no more. I don't need nothing that's getting in my mind like that. That's crazy. So, when you get your mind together, it be certain things you don't want to watch no more. You don't want to entertain no more. You don't just got time for it. Hey, God, it's my first time tapping in. Hello, Shonda. Hey, sweetie. Thank you for being here. You don't even want to watch that mess no more. You don't even want to hear it no more. You don't want nothing to mess with your frequency. That's why I ain't even watched that Tyler Perry. What is that with the girl? Taraji P. Henson in it. I ain't even watched that show yet. I don't even want to wait because when I hear people talk about it, I say, I don't need to relive no trauma. Black women got enough. We live that every day. He ain't have to go make no damn movie. This our life every day. So we didn't need you to make no movie. Make something where black women rise and we ruling the world. Make something like that. And I'm tired of you and this stuff, boy. You can get that stuff together. You know what's wrong with y'all with that mess. But I don't want to watch it. Listen, I was the same way about that TV movie. I'm not finna do that. Did you say you were hurting your mind or your eyes? Both of them, honey. See, my eyes and my mind was hurting just looking at that. And some stuff I can watch it when they getting hurt and stuff. I feel like I can feel. I be like, ooh, ooh. Some stuff I can't watch like that because I feel like I can feel it. Like, and I think that's you just get more sensitive with things. Okay, you just get more sensitive. If you're an empath, you're gonna really feel some stuff. But hey, that's just how it is for me. And you will see it like that. The stuff that you used to entertain, you don't even want to watch that stuff no more. Look at that stuff no more. Entertain that stuff no more because you don't even want to be messing with your mind like that. You know. Hey, Yellow. Hey, baby, how you doing? And so again, that spirit communication is paramount. And how these people doing? These people ain't no special to you, baby. They get somewhere and they sitting down. They getting off that TV. They doing a level up by spending time with spirit, and you can too. And get off that telephone and get off that social media and spend about 20, 30 minutes at your ancestors' altar and shut your mouth and cut off that phone. Maybe say you some psalms and stuff that start help you clear that mind out. Now, if you find it very hard to do that, then you probably need to do some shadow work and move some of that intergenerational trauma out. Because sometimes that chatter won't stop in your head. And you trying to figure out what the hell going on. And that's that trauma that got stuck in your head through these lower frequencies and phrases that's repeating in your head, or you can't got control of your mind. It's just rushing everywhere, here and there, and all that stuff. Your mind can be full of toxins. Why you think people go to a therapist? They go there. Why you think they go to confession? And after they go to confession or go to therapy, they are able to purge those thoughts and shift their thinking. That's what that's there for. We're going through a whole shadow work program that's just like that. Okay, that's what that's there for. You need to be opening your mouth. That's the only way it's gonna come out. That's when you're supposed to use your mouth to heal yourself. You don't know how powerful your mouth is until you start opening it to heal yourself. I'm telling you, that's where the work gonna come in at Brown Girl Farms. I have experience with that. That's why I got, we have a program that we're going through now called the Know Thyself membership. And there we do group meetings there and we do our shadow work. We share it. There's a workbook that you get. You go through that workbook. When we go into a meeting, we break that and you break that all down. Everybody share. I want you opening your mouth. You ain't gonna sit over there and keep your mouth closed because you ain't gonna get your healing that way. You gotta open your mouth and talk. Okay? It's the only way you don't know how to use your mouth. You don't know the power of your voice. That's why our ancestors they stood up in that church and honey, they was testifying, honey. They was being delivered through their testimony. And say, this is what you do, this is where your power is. Now you don't need to be talking to yourself. That's the problem. You can't do shadow work alone. Them spirits will trick you like that. You talking to them spirit. No. You have to be somewhere getting some medicine. That's why I look at people sideways when they tell me they doing shadow work by themselves. You fooling yourself, honey. Them spirits is tricking you. Them spirits is tricking you. You sick. So how you gonna shift your conscience if your mind is sick? The only way you're gonna do that is somebody in their helping you shift your consciousness and look at that trauma from a different perspective and make you know that, feel that, and you would do the shit. I don't know how they be doing it. It just no. You need to be talking to you. It's only so far you gonna get. You ain't gonna get well. Yeah, I know you saying really. I've been drunk. You think that's enough, but it's not. That's the only thing I tell you. You think that's enough. How you feel? Are you making any progress? Are you able to emotionally regulate and look at those wounds? If you don't do that, I always recommend getting a therapist or getting in group therapy because you need someone, again, helping you shift and look at that from a different perspective because that's the medicine. Being able to shift and look at things from another perspective because there's some things that we hold on to and we really believe it's our fault. We didn't told this to ourselves in our head. And until we tell somebody else and they look at it and they be like, "No, that's not your fault." That no, your mind is sick. How you gonna get? It just doesn't make sense. Some people crazy and don't know they crazy. You know, some people crazy and they don't even know they're crazy. Sick people don't think they sick. They think they're perfectly fine. They think they're absolutely fine. You think you're making progress? Okay, wait till the right thing come up. Okay, but I always recommend that somebody do it with a therapist because again, you need help. You need help shifting and looking at things from another perspective. And that's how the new energy comes in. That's how the healing begins. That's how the alignment begins. I don't believe what has happened in my is my fault. I'm very hurt though. I say again, you need to be talking about it. And sometimes that pain's so great, you need to be holding it with somebody else. Somebody needs to hold it with you. And that happens in the group instead of you holding the pain by yourself. That whole group again is holding it with you. You're not holding it by yourself. And then you're able to listen to somebody else's story too, and their story might be your medicine. That's why in the group I love groups because when you get in groups, you everybody start healing on each other. It just a thing that happens when you get in the healing group. Everybody start healing on each other through their stories, through their testimony. A bond happens when people heal in groups. People start sharing their stories, sharing their experiences, and the medicine start to happen. The ancestors show up, and people start being healed. They start shifting. That's just been my experience. It's usually with a therapy, to me, group therapy accelerates your healing. I've accelerated more in group therapy than I would did with a therapy. By the time I went to the therapist, I knew what was going on with me. I knew what they needed to do with me because I learned so much about myself in group therapy. And most therapists had to come to our group therapy to learn to counsel people who who lived in dysfunctional families or who had intergenerational trauma in their families. They had to come there and learn because they ain't got no experience. Just because they learn something don't mean they have the experience because a lot of them didn't have experience in there. And that's when I started learning. I wanted a therapist with experience. I don't care if they went to school for it. They ain't gonna never understand this if they ain't lived this. I don't want nobody telling me nothing they didn't read out of a book. That don't mean nothing. If they haven't experienced my life, I don't want to be talking to them people. And usually none of them, that's just like somebody trying to tell you about kids and they ain't got no kids. Sit down somewhere. No, I don't want to talk to you. No, it's not your fault, baby. It's not your fault. That is not your fault. In some kind of way, in the back of our mind, them spirits will try to, they'll try to oppress you. They'll keep you isolated. So when you come to your weakest point, you don't have a support system, and they'll bring you down into a depression. You don't got nothing really solid to hold on to. They'll have you in shame because they said, you can't tell nobody. You can only do like this. You ain't gonna be released until you tell that thing out loud. And then them spirits ain't got no, them things got to get up out of there. They can't keep you bound no more. I'm not keeping no secrets, and I ain't keeping no shame. And my daughter just went through that with my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. And my youngest daughter, she can't keep secrets. She cannot tolerate emotional toxins. She do not like that. Do not tell her to keep secrets. That's not how she built. Okay, and she started getting sick, started having seizures, and after her little seizure, not a little seizure, after her seizure, that's when she said, she told my daughter, she said, "Stop telling me secrets. I don't want to keep secrets with mama. I don't want you talking about mom behind her back. That is not right. That is not. I can't do that. That's not how I do. I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's just not in me to do it." It was hurting her. It was hurting her to keep those type of messed up secrets and stuff like that. She don't like that. And she placed a big boundary with my oldest daughter. And I said, "Are you hearing her? Please, she's telling you not to do that anymore. She don't want to do that. She don't know why you keeping secrets in the first place. It don't make no sense." But that's that generational trauma in my family. And my daughter was still toting it after I have explained that, broke that down to her. Now, after this, I broke this down to you and everything. I got to think that you want to keep working with these spirits inside you like this, because that's what them things is. Now, what you think is spirits and poltergeist, you think it's gonna be poltergeist and stuff in your family. No, these spirits act out through all these secrecy, shame, betrayal, abuse, addiction. That's how intergenerational these spirits get in your family through intergenerational trauma. Okay, you think you're gonna see some spooky and all this sort of kind of stuff and green stuff coming out people's mouth and their head spinning around. No, you're not gonna see that. You're gonna see crazy ass people. That's how spirits operate. What they're telling you, that's a mental disorder. We already understood that. That's why our ancestors they hurry up and reach for their hoodoo, because they knew that stuff, that what they was gonna do was gonna drive people crazy. And folks stayed in church trying to get their mind right. Okay, they use church to keep their sanity, to stay as close to God as they can get. Jealousy, envy, secret competition coming from my own parents. Like that's what it is. It's them spirits and them people. And I was talking about that the other day. Sometimes you can see your parents. It's like it's glimpses of them in there, and then that sickness will come back and take over their mind like that. It's a trip when you see it, and ain't nothing you can do about it. But honey, I be the medicine. I tell them exactly what it is, because I'm not gonna play with you over there. Okay, I'm not playing with you. I'm not doing that with you. Now that's the word they have for it, is demonic. But really, you know, it really deserves the discussion, because if you go in, your ancestors been done like that for 500 years, and you think they mind gonna be right. Them people to put them spirits in there through that trauma. Now they acting like the people that did them like that. You understand me? Them people to put them spirits in them like that. But trauma is a gateway for these spirits to come in and keep you bound. Our ancestors, they knew that. Okay, that's why we got hoodoo. Okay, that's what that does, and they're still doing it. It's really sick. I was sitting up here watching the other day. This was young men were hanging from trees. I'm just surprised, and it's that you something wrong with you. What you mean you surprised? Y'all, what you mean? So you can tell something's wrong with us, because, honey, that's why I had to get away from there. We're really sick. What you mean you surprised? They've been doing this. Ancestors been trying to wake you up to do something with these people. You're stuck in a karmic loop of repeating that. I kind of think we got PTSD and we don't want to move. But just imagine, just to me, if we was in contact with our ancestors, a Haiti would have been happening in America, and I'd have told you that. A Haiti would have been happening in America if we was talking to our ancestors. What you mean? You surprised, girl? This been going on for so long. It's like, I don't know, when you wake up and start, because a lot of us sick, we don't see it. I didn't see it either, baby. I had normalized the type of sickness. Okay, I normalized that. What you mean? Ancestors looking upside the head. What you mean? You surprised? What the hell? We've been telling you what? What do you mean you surprised? I just it's sick over there. It's sick. They're keeping you sick. They're keeping you in a state of sickness. You got PTSD. You ain't got what you call Stockholm syndrome. You got all that stuff going on in you with you, and you don't even see it. I'm just telling you the truth, man. You ain't gonna see it, and they set that up to keep you sick. And you don't think your ancestors gonna be sick? You didn't think people in your family was gonna be sick? You living in a whole nation of psychopaths, and you didn't think your ancestors gonna be sick. Come on now. I had normalized my parents' behavior until I just couldn't take it anymore. Yeah, we normalized dysfunction. That's what happened, baby. I was like that too, honey. I woke up from my trauma. It tripped me out. Oh my God, I just go back. It's like all them years I was walking in the fog because I had normalized that. But baby, when I pulled that, when I started healing and I pulled that back, I said, "Oh my God," I cried, honey. I cried. It's like I created a whole false world for myself. It was just so crazy. It's like I can see it now. It's like the whole fog just cleared. Everything just cleared up. And honey, that made that family so damn mad. That made them so mad. Because you got to remember that a lot of them are under these narcissistic spirits. A lot of them, when you look at that nation over there, that's dark psychology. And what is that? You're messing with malevolent spirits. You are uh, uh, working with deception, heavy deception, manipulation, and lies, inversion. That's what you're working with over there. And they set that up. It's immersed in that whole culture over there. It's immersed. That's why you got them people over there that they ain't got no sense. Now they know dang on well, they time is up. Need to sit on down. They know what they done is wrong, but no, they holding on to that with everything in their power. They gonna hold on to that type of craziness that's going on with them. I don't even want to talk to them no more because they psychopaths. Not gonna talk to nobody. You can't make sense of crazy, and you ain't gonna be putting your hands on me. I know that much. I no, ain't gonna do it. And that's what they trying to do. They want to put their hands on folks and all that kind of stuff. You're not doing that to me. And I meant that. I meant that with every fiber in my being. You better see that writing on the wall what it is, because they got you over there sick in your mind. The child talking about she can't believe. What the hell you mean? Are you not looking at the story of your ancestors? Are you serious right now? They mean that they really don't like you. And it's the sickest thing. These people made postcards of unaliving people and all that sort of stuff, and you think they won't put their hands on you? They went to picnics where people were unalive. They thought that was funny. That was amusing to them. You're dealing with psychopaths. You ain't gonna see that till you understand it because you're sitting in the trauma. You're actually sitting in that trauma. You're being held hostage there. But you don't see that because you have normalized this sort of dysfunction. That's why I talk about intergenerational trauma and shadow work so much because we sometimes we don't see it. And then you start healing, you start seeing that stuff, you be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just sat in there like that and didn't see that." You're gonna have so many mixed feelings about yourself, and then you got to grieve because your whole life been robbed. They've been stealing your energy. You're gonna grieve and have to grieve those parents because they sick in their mind. Okay. Some of us they had us growing up real fast, paying bills, taking care of cheering and all that stuff because they was in survival mode. This is the stuff that we got to do over here. And this is why I tell people this close, because honey, we got too much work to do. Anybody not got no time to be looking at you. We got too much work to do. We got to heal on ancestors, heal on ourselves. We don't got time for you to be coming over here trying to see what we got going on. That's true. I'm not gonna, I'm telling you the truth now. Now, if your practitioner's not telling you that, That baby don't need to be picking up no magic or none of that stuff. All that stuff that happened to her, she need to be get or him. They need to be getting somewhere and sitting down and loving on themselves and talking to their ancestors first. That's what that need to happen. They need to get somewhere and love it. Don't be giving them that stuff right now. They need to understand the magnitude of what happened to them so they can start bonding with their ancestors. Their ancestors can start talking to them and they can start healing on themselves. They're gonna need that stuff to heal themselves. The ancestors gonna fix their life when they get themselves right already. Okay, that baby need to be over there healing somewhere, talking to their ancestors, crying, grieving, and all that. And the magnitude that stuff went over 500 years. You think that Holocaust was something? You had a 500-year Holocaust, and you think you finna get up and you gonna be all right? No, you ain't. Okay, you need to get somewhere and sit down. That's why that ain't working for that baby. Don't be telling them their house ain't clean and all this sort of stuff, and they need to have faith. No, that child need to heal. That's what's going on with them. When they heal and they get themselves together and they recognize the power that they have in them, they talking to their ancestors, then they pick up that magic and all types of stuff be moving around. That's what's gonna happen. Okay. Hey, I cried some today off what you said. Hey, Royal Goddess. Royal Goddess is really deeper than we know. It really is, baby. Okay, that's what that need to tell you. Need to sit you on down. Not tell you, you know, you need to get somewhere, get your mind right. Honey, they don't need to be touching nothing till they heal. And please don't be telling them to touch on nothing until they get somewhere to heal. And please explain to them why we created Hoodoo. Hoodoo was created out of ugliness because we were trying to heal ourselves from that stuff them people was doing, trying to keep ourselves in alignment. Because we knew them people was raggedy. That's why we had our own store. We had our own everything. We tried not to look at them people if we didn't have to. And them people got mad and started tearing up our stuff. And then they ain't do nothing when they segregate again, when they end segregation, they ain't do nothing but give them people permission to poison you even more. Cause when you was segregated, you weren't looking at and you weren't following them people and trying to mess with them like that. Your ancestors had their own culture, their own way of doing things. Okay, yes, me, it should have stayed that way. Cause you did better off because you get around these people, they make you mentally sick. Okay. Don't need to be. I heard some boy on the TikTok. He said, "I don't even want you coming down my timeline. I don't even want to look at you." I know all y'all ain't like that, but until you do something with your folks, I don't want to see you over here. I don't want to see you down my timeline. None of that. I'm just deleting you. I don't want to see you no more. I'm gonna block you. I don't want to see nobody look like you. I couldn't get mad. Okay. Now you know that's the ancestors' work. We got to do. They got to do their work. We got to do our work. Until they willing to do that work and do that deep healing, try to figure out why they like that. Then don't be fooling with them like that. Okay, they need to figure out why they like that, why they stand up in their bloodline like that. And some of them are estranged from their own family members because they family members so sick like that in their mind. That's the work that they have to do. We got our own work to do. That's why Hoodoo is closed. You got some of our ancestors don't even want to look at them people. They won't even talk to them people. They get over here, they get messed up. Okay. I hope this making sense to you. And you remember your ancestors when they speaking you, these spirits ain't got no voice. Instead, they impress upon your thoughts through images, feelings, and into our minds. And if you is stuck in a trauma mode, you worried about how to pay this bill, and you worried about how to do this, you looking, your mind is somewhere else. You're not going to be getting messages from your ancestors. Yep, I agree. I'm over here making something to eat and listening to you. I know that's right, Vashonda. Okay, that's what has to go on there. Spiritual communication. A lot of y'all, somebody showed you how to make an ancestor altar. You probably putting food and water up there and just walking away. No, go sit your butt down. Okay, go sit down. Go buy you a shadow workbook or get in some type of healing circle. When you get that started, you just go get in the healing circle. Okay, start doing shit shadow work and get in the healing circle because you got to get your mind cleaned out. You got to purge all that stuff out of your mind. And you got to understand, learn how to regulate your emotions because when you go through something like that, and all that stuff, your emotions be out of whack. You can't even regulate your emotions because you done had to deal with all this craziness so long. You've been in survival mode so long. Some of us were either frozen, our emotions are frozen, or we have poor emotional regulation. We don't know how to deal with our triggers. I'm gonna break it down to you like that, baby. Okay, I'm not, I ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong, and I just don't like these practitioners coming up here and handing you some magic, and they don't telling you how it all work. Okay, they're not telling you everything. You can't be on no low frequency doing certain magic. You're gonna have to have a higher frequency. You're gonna have to be able to tap into those realms. A lot of ancestors are back and not playing. And they not. Okay, and then this is the right time to be doing. You got October coming up. The veil is thin, and the ancestors can come out and do really really work with you. This is the best time to get your practice together. That's the best time to get your practice together. Poor emotional regulation. We are under assault on the daily. That's right. And up there over there, I said, get out that place. America's so sick. And then when I see some of them talk about the issues that's going on, I can see the karmic loop. Like y'all just repeating the same thing. Our ancestors want you to stop doing that. You are not gonna be able to change these people by talking, by voting, by protesting. They ain't gonna work like that. And I told you that. Okay, the ancestors said it. Yeah, but you're scared, you're frozen, you got PTSD, and these folks got your mind sick. They got you thinking if you put your hands on them, they wrong. You absolutely not. That's fighting for liberation. What are you talking about? You letting these lower energies embody you, traumatize other people. We know ain't nothing about you human doing that. You love inversion, you love lies, you love twisting. Truly, you are the devil. Don't play with me. Okay? They knew that and hated. That's why they didn't hate it. They put them hands on. They put them their hands on them people. They knew that and hated. That's why they put them. Honey, you had them women out there with machetes and axes and all that. And who would they call on? They call on their ancestors. What are you talking about? Them Haitians call on their ancestors and them petro spirits. Because when you look at voodoo, and we broke that down, voodoo is ancestral. We already broke that down. Them people call on them petro spirits in that whole land. That whole land came alive and put them people on their back and ran them people up out of there. That whole land came alive. What are you talking about? You don't think you're gonna have to put? They not ready to tell you. I already showed you what you're gonna have to do. It's either gonna be an Exodus or a Haiti. The same thing happening in Nepal need to happen in America. What you talking about? Then you come in peace. You the medicine. You the cure. What you talking about? I didn't come here to bring no peace. I came here to heal this. And medicine don't always feel good. It don't always taste good. I don't know what you're talking about. And see, y'all ain't got that in your mind yet. But them Haitians, they got it real good. They say, oh, this is what they understand. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, this is what we got to do. Do you think they want to do that? No, they didn't want to do that, baby. That's why they called on their ancestors for strength, power, and guidance to get it done. Had they not had the mighty ancestors, praise be the ancestors, may they live on forever and ever, ever, give us strength and power, liberation and freedom. Had they not had that, they would have not won that. You don't understand the power of your ancestors. You think it's so powerful here now, honey. They dismantling the Native Americans over there, and they mad as hell that they not the indigenous people, and y'all over there checking them, telling them we never said we was the Native Americans. We're saying we're American. You're Native. You don't come from here. I be tripping out when y'all be checking these people. Y'all be straight checking them. We never said we was Native American. Yo, no, 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 no. We already know the government set y'all up. Y'all not real. We was already here. What we telling you, you came here while we was already here, honey. Y'all be just really checking that the ancestors started to dismantle that. They can't live under that lie no more. And y'all trip me out every time y'all checking them. Y'all mean y'all checking, and the young generation, I think they're gonna be the one to do it because y'all don't take no stuff. Y'all ain't gonna be no slave. You ain't gonna let nobody use you. If anybody was to change something, it's probably gonna be y'all because y'all don't like nobody working y'all to death. Y'all like that. Y'all either gonna get away or y'all gonna put y'all hands on somebody. And see, this is the stuff we had to deal with that our parents programmed us into. When really we should have been again putting our hands on these people, getting it together. That's why they didn't like Tupac, because if Tupac would have kept going, it could have been a revolution. Because he was telling people to put your hands, do it back to them. If they do it to you, do it back. And they got mad at Tupac. He said, I ain't tell nobody to hurt nobody. The only time this could be you be mad, you could be mad at this if you the people that are oppressing people. But if you ain't no oppressor, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You hear me? Them folks is mad. Yeah, they ever get rid of that boy. If that boy probably would have been here, Obama probably wouldn't have been the president. Okay, probably probably would have been some more unity because the fire that the ancestors had in him. Okay, but he was playing with these folks, tip tapping with the folks. You can't be out there playing the game with them, playing their game. And I'm just telling you the truth. You ain't gonna get it like that. You can intellectualize these people. Do not feel any sympathy. They don't have any compassion like that. You see what happened during the Katrina. That boy had to tell what is his name? Kanye West had to sit up there on that national TV and said President Bush don't like black people. Boy, that boy he said that. See, y'all don't forgot Kanye, who Kanye West is, the real Kanye West. I don't know what we're dealing with now. But that boy said that stuff right there on national TV. And we didn't know nothing. Now we just learned about what happened in Katrina. But I'm sure if we talk to people personally, it probably was more horrific than that. Because they said they was going down there unalive and shooting those people, unalive and poo-pewing them people. That's your government for you. That's how much they love you. They did that right there in front of your face. They pale faced people and rescued them and took the people that looked like you and started unaliving you. That's what they told the military to do. You better get that out your head. I don't know why. It's Stockholm syndrome. Why would you think they have any compassion for you? Why would you think that? And people that don't, pale face color people, I don't want to hear it. Get over there and fix your stuff over there with them folks. I'm not like that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Every time y'all say that stuff, it pisses me off. The hell you mean? I'm not like that. I still can't trust you. Because if they bought slavery back today, y'all gonna jump on the train. Because you're stand by. When you stand by, don't say nothing. You give consent. So I don't want to hear that come out your mouth. You guys, you had that in slavery. A lot of them didn't agree with it, but they stood right by slavery. Okay, I have to. That's our story. When again, your mind just so messed up over there. It's sick. But you ain't gonna see that until you start healing. Until you got your mind right. That's why you had all these ancestors trying to break down your mind and how they got your mind all messed up like that. That's why you got a lot of these, our ancestors that wrote these books and told you how they playing with your mind. And most of our ancestors was impacted by this craziness because it is craziness over there. Don't make no sense. That man doing psychopathic stuff, and we just standing by. And really, if he was in Nepal somewhere doing that, if he was in Cambodia somewhere doing that, if he was in Thailand somewhere doing that, you know what them people would have did? They would have dragged him up out of there and threw him in a river, or like him and his whole family, if he did that somewhere else. I'm telling you, these other countries don't do that. There's some stuff going on in Africa. They will pull these people out of their office and throw them out. You see what's happening there. When we send in America, no, that's so harsh. That's so they doing it to you. What are you talking about? This man, they're doing it to you. But your mind ain't right. You don't understand how these spirits work through people, and you don't understand spiritual warfare. And you've been in that for a very long time. There's been warfare on you from the time you came out of your womb. There's been warfare on you. And until you do your work and start talking to your ancestors and listening to them, the work that you want to do in hoodoo is not going to move the way you want it to move. And I break this thoroughly down for you so you can understand that. And I don't know why people are leaving this out of hoodoo, because that's the first thing we understand, that hoodoo was created out of survival. We understand that. We understand our story. And when you understand that, what happens is you dip in your relationship with your ancestors. The frequency shifts and changes because now you understand. The bonding starts to happen. I hope it's making sense to you. This ain't. That's why I tell people this that's witchcraft. You know, people that's looking at us say that's witchcraft. Nah, this ain't that. We're not doing the same thing you're doing. It may look like that, but that's not what this is. You have to tell them that because they think it's the same. It's not. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Brown Girl Farm. So again, spiritual communication is important. So there is no sense in getting in hoodoo if you don't want to do ancestral veneration or spiritual communication. If you scared of spirits, then I don't know why you want to be picking up magic, because that's something spiritual that you're doing. You're working with energies. Don't make no sense to me. You need to probably sit down and think about that. But that's how our mind be so messed up. We can't even put things together. We don't even understand. Uh, we're not getting the full things. Okay, when somebody's showing you stuff, and for you, even if you do want to do it, go ask your ancestors first. Should I do this? Is this the way you want me to do this? Because they may want you to do that a whole totally different way. It might be so much simpler. Okay, because we like children up under them. We see something is so shiny, we want to do it. They'll stop you and say, You be like, what? No, I don't need it. No, you don't need that. You got to be able to take a note, take a note, and be like, okay, what can I do? Because you a child to come in here and be ego driven and think I'm just gonna do no. Then if you gonna be like that, you don't need no help. You're gonna be steady walking in circles. You got to be willing when they tell you to put something down and get somewhere and sit down, do it. You got to be obedient. It takes some discipline over here. And you got to know up under your ancestors, your most elevated ancestors, they want the best for you. They telling you something, obey. They looking out for you. You say you want their guidance. You say you want them to help you with their wisdom and guide you. Listen to them. Everything ain't gonna feel good either, because you be wanting to do some stuff and they be saying, get somewhere and sit down, be quiet. That's not for you. We don't want you over there. You got to learn how to do that. But if you egotistical, you ain't gonna get far with that. Okay? You got to understand you a child up under them. And they tell you to do something, it's in your highest good. They ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong. Most of them, if you're dealing with your most elevated ancestors, I'm not talking about family members. I'm talking about the most elevated, vibrant ancestors who were not touched by this trauma. And we talk about that in more details and break that down to you so you can understand that. That's what the egungun is. Okay, when they talk about the egungun, they're talking about the most elevated ancestors. That's who they're calling out to in some of the ATRs, and they go by other name as well. The Gettys, that's who they are. We do not, again, them family members, they tired, honey. They try to survive. Some of them passed over in this sickness, and some of them didn't really like us. Some of them was crazy. You got to pray for them folks. You don't want to be working with them folks. Let them people rest and get their lesson on the other side. That's how they should go. Okay. So you'll have some people that they can do it naturally, they can do it with ease. And then you have some people, they have perfected the art of mediumship and talking to spirits through their ancestors. Because what happens when you start to communicate with your ancestors successfully, you can go on to start working with saints. You might go on and start working with saints, but we automatically over there we got start having you work with angels to start raising your frequency to and accelerate your healing. That's what happens when you combine them together. When you're working with the archangels and doing those rituals, because we give you the rituals and what they like, how to set up your table. And so when you're staying, that should no magic should be going. Nothing. We getting our mind right. We getting prepared for magic. Okay, should nothing. Don't be trying to do that. The thing we trying to do is contact these angels, and once you start contacting these angels, they're going to communicate with you through inspiration and creativity and all these downloads. Your thoughts and stuff start becoming more positive. You start to accelerate your healing and do shifting a lot more quicker, which accelerates your healing. It works on a subtle level. This is the science. This is the spiritual science of hoodoo. Okay, that's why we pair it up like that. I had I think I talked about that the other day. Had one girl say, I want a quantum jeep jump in my healing. I said you can if you consistent on your working with your archangels, calling on them, setting your intentions. You'll start feeling the difference in your mind and in your mood. It's a byproduct. That's why you have some people too, they go right in with the Psalms, because when they start using the Psalms too, again, it start helping them shift. They start feeling better. The Psalms have that same if you pair it with Psalms, the Psalms will have that same uh effect. I hope this making sense to you guys. Okay. Now, if your thoughts are anxious and scattered thoughts, you're not gonna get, and you're not calm, because these angels and these your elevated ancestors, they can't come in if your thoughts are scattered and you're in a state of panic and you're in anxiety. Nothing can get in like that. Okay, so the mind has to be in a state of calmness. You right. I've been reading and praying with the Psalms. So it do make you feel a little better. It does. It's some medicine there, spiritual medicine there. And I'm telling you, uh b- we start realizing the things when I was in this healing group, we start having psychosomatic illnesses. And you will see that these doctors know exactly what it is when you got high blood pressure and all this other stuff going on with you, arthritis, joint pain, and all that. That comes from trauma. That comes from generational trauma that is set up in your body. And we start experiencing that in our healing group, and everybody in that healing group start reaching for something spiritual. Some people start reaching for yoga. Some people start reaching for meditation. Uh, some people start going to Reiki and doing massages. Me, my little old black self, I started reaching for hoodoo, and it started saving my life. I honey got them spiritual baths crunked up, them songs crunked up, that journaling crunk up, and honey, I started healing myself. I started seeing big shifts in myself because it's a spiritual illness. That's what they're not telling you. They're gonna tell you, oh, it's arthritis, oh, it's multiple sclerosis. I said, no, it's the intergenerational trauma, all these spirits y'all done put out here that set up in my body like this. That's what it is. So I need to go somewhere and get my spirit together. And usually when you get your spiritual life together, you get that together and you become more spiritual center. You see so many people, it happens to so many people. You see your life, it'll get back in alignment. You start feeling better. And see the doctor, they treating the symptoms of the trauma. The symptoms of the trauma is the psychosomatic illness. And see what they telling you is an illness right there ain't nothing but these spirits that set up in your body. And I'm telling you the truth. I didn't break this all the way down to the science. They talk about the epigenetics. You still have that in there. They have did scientific. This is scientifically proven, and I show you that when we go through our know thyself members over there. I take your face right there to see it, so you know I ain't making it up. I've been doing this too long. I know, and had to heal myself, so I had to know this stuff. I had to become a root worker to start myself because I wanted to know where it come from. Where it come from, ancestors? Why we so damn crazy, ancestors? Why am I so damn crazy? Why is this happening to my body? I had to go deep at root. I had to use again spirituality because see these people, they couldn't even tell you what was wrong with my shoulder. And I kept on getting cortisol shots, and nobody could tell you what was wrong with my shoulder until I started healing. Ancestor said that's that stuff that's got stuck up in your shoulders like that, that heaviness. That's what this is. This ain't what you think is help a health thing. Yes, a health thing, but it's also it started off spiritual. So you're gonna have to start doing this. That's why you see most people that beat cancer and they had to go on a vegetarian a diet like that. You see them become more spiritual and they get an alignment. You start to see them make big shifts. Okay, and sometimes that happens. And sometimes your body can be all messed up and you don't even know it because you've been in survival mode. You ain't been time enough to sit down. You don't know you tensing your shoulders. You've been walking like this all day long because you used to doing it again. It's a survival thing. You don't sit down long enough to pay attention to yourself. You keep distracting yourself, looking at that person, following that person, looking at this, running over here, doing that. You need to sit down somewhere. Okay, you got to know yourself. Let's find out what's going on with you, and just really pay attention to your thinking. And I know people they say when I meditate, I get so many thoughts. Just sit there, let them come through there, let them come through there, and then dispel them. And then after a while, you'll get less and less thoughts. Just let it happen. Let your mind do it. Your mind know how to heal itself, but you ain't sat down long enough to trust your mind to do the healing. Okay, so that's very important. So that spiritual communication is very important. And again, when your ancestors talk to you, they're gonna be talking to you through your thoughts. And we break that all the way down when you understand the science and the power of the mind and where the magic happens at, where the communication happens at. Because nobody has, and they told us about our brain, but nobody has just really sat down and told us how our mind works. And when you study your mind, you study psychology. You're studying the science of spirit. That's what you're doing. Okay, we're studying the science of spirit when we sit down and study our mind. Okay, so learning how to quiet yourself is just no way around this. And some of us we don't like being by ourselves. Some of us are energy vampires. Some of us are codependent. I like it to call another word codependent. You depend on somebody else's energy to regulate yourself. Some of us like that. Okay, you got to find out what type of energy you got. Are you using other people' energy to regulate your energy, to give you energy? Are you the one who can spark your energy and get it going? You ain't gonna know till you get somewhere and sit down. Okay, that's gonna be so important for you. You got to have that going on. And I apologize. Them folks ain't told you that. Uh, but I come here and tell you. 'Cause you already know spells. You already got you seen that. You need to know how it work, when to do it, and the support you need when you do it. And that's gonna be your ancestors. You don't need to know no spells. That's why people coming over here. That's easy. That's the easy side of it. They showing you the easy side of it. They ain't showing you the other part of it. How they got there. They showing you the easy part. They're not showing you the step it took for them to get there to do that. That's the part that you're missing, and that's the part I'm talking about. Okay, I hope that made sense to you, beloved. That's why I'm happy. And I know it don't sound popular. Don't nobody want to hear this. They want to see a spell. They want to see some all my business and all this stuff. That ain't helping you. That ain't the real juice behind what you see. Okay, that ain't the real juice. That don't even matter. It don't matter more than how I got here. Because I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't do this. I wouldn't even be doing this if I hadn't did that. Okay, and that's the missing components. Now, if somebody telling you you can learn a hoodoo shop, or they trying to teach you a spell in one weekend and all that stuff, did your ancestors tell you to do that? Is they want you to learn that? Do they want you to learn that? Because they got their own magic. They got their own way. You ain't gonna know that till they start putting stuff together. You it's gonna be simple. Hell, them ancestors have you working with salt, a brown bag, a tree, and be getting real good results. They know stuff these other folks don't know. Okay, they probably don't even want that for you. And that's important. Yeah, I think it's easy for these, I don't know what's going on. I just got to come here and do what I'm doing, ancestors. I don't know what's going on, but I know that the hoodoo don't move, don't none of this move without the ancestors. Nothing comes before the ancestors. I don't care what nobody's saying. I don't care what they're showing you. I don't care. No initiation is going on. No magic is going on. Nothing is going on without the ancestors. That's just the way it goes. It's always been like that. Okay, somebody telling you different. I don't know what to tell you. You like again. I don't want to get in trouble with no spirit. Okay, I'm not doing that. And they can get in trouble with the spirit if they want to, but I'm not doing that. I already know how that go. I can't win. Okay, so another thing I've moved after that. Do anybody got questions on spiritual communication before we moved on? Because we finna about to shift gears on some people. About to drop some more stuff on you again. Anybody got any questions about spiritual communication or ancestral veneration? If you are interested in real hoodoo, amplifying your work, or trying to get your ancestral veneration together, we have a whole program over there on our in our hoodoo community. We have plenty of resources. I'm always there. We're always doing some type of workshop or activity. Okay, so if there's something that interests you, the link is in my bio there on TikTok, and I think it's in my bio there on YouTube as well. If that's something that you're interested in. Okay. Now I'm gonna just shift gears there. No one said anything about ancestral veneration, so I assume that you don't have any questions. So one of the things that we went over there, and I think I've mentioned it here, that we went over chants. And of course, over there in our community, I gave away a free book on chants to let you see how it was in Hebrew. Um, the Hebrew had chants and how chants was being used uh, in Christianity. Let me see it like that. So we were able to provide you with that book. What was very interesting though when we start to look at chants, because we kind of doing that too in hoodoo. When you're repeating the verse over and over again you're amplifying the power every time you repeat that verse. That's why we do things 3 times, we do things 7 times, we do things 9 times. Again, the more you uh say the chant, the more you build power on it. I hope that made sense. We always knew the power of our voice, the power of rhythm. Okay, that's why you had them preachers up in there huffing and puffing like they do. They doing a certain type of rhythmic chant. Okay, and I saw this in uh what really sparked my attention when I seen these chants in voodoo and looking at the drumming and looking at all that. And what was really us, and I talked about this a little bit, is seeing Hinduism and seeing that in conjure. It really it tripped me out when I seen that. I was like, oh, how's this get in here? And then the closer that we start looking at voodoo, it had so many Hinduism and voodoo has so many elements. And one of those that I found fascinating is the chants to communicate with their ancestral lineage. They were using chants to tap into that vibration, and that's what voodoo do as well. Those chants are so powerful. Again, it's like a ripple effect, like the ancestor told me. It's like a drop of water. Every time your voice says something, it ripples out. It's rippling out into the ethers, and that is what those chants do. It just amplifies, and the more people do it, and the longer they do it, the stronger it ripples out, the stronger the vibration. And so that's why you see a lot of people do a lot of chants. They do them together in the community. You get a community of people chanting, they can get some things moving. That's the same power. I'm gonna tell you what is more is like is a good example. You remember Avatar? They was trying to bring that person back to life, and all some people had to get hooked, and they all started chanting and stuff together, and they was bringing. I think that person they were trying to bring them to life or whatever. And you see the power in their chants because they were connected to that ancestral tree. That's sort of how chants work. Does that make sense to you? I hope that made sense to y'all. Because ancestors be telling me stuff about how this spiritual technology, and I be trying my best to explain it. And I see why people keep their mouth closed when the ancestors tell them something. Because some stuff you can't explain to people. They be showing you stuff that you can't explain to people. Yes, yep. Sojourner Weaver's character was dying. Yes, okay. And so y'all see they was doing that chant. They kept doing it. They was giving power to it. Okay, it was trying to get her to cross over into this other body, and so that's how it works. That's how it works. That's how those chants. That's just a good example of how those chants work. That's usually how it works, and they are strictly ancestral, and they are strictly primordial. And so when you start a chant, doing chants, that is the old primordial energy practice. That energy is very old and sacred when you start using chants. And you see that too in Hinduism. Some of the chants they say 3 9, they go up to 108 times. You see that too with the rosary. When the people praying the rosary and they touching every bead, again, they're chanting. It's still there, you guys. Okay, it's still there. And that is why we're in our hoodoo, we're repeating those verses like that over and over again because we're tapping into that frequency. Okay. This is the spiritual technology that we have been using for generations. So chants are really good at helping you tap into that frequency and shifting your consciousness to an altered state. Now, if you want to get into the spiritual, tap into the spiritual realm, easy, play music, do chanting. That music they said that's the hook of the song. No, that's the chant of the song. They chanting because they're tapping into that energy. And it's a lot of too how they brainwash us. So we got to be careful what we saying, because you got to remember, words have power. You don't want to be chanting that stuff all the time. Okay, depends on what you want to chant and what you're trying to bring in. But in a lot of that music that you play, you can go to your altar and it can open up that portal for you uh, to shift and start doing ancestor communication. You can do that with gospel music too. Our ancestors was doing it through gospel music, honey. They can tear up some songs and reach into some realms. You seen it on the movie centers. You look at that Kiki Wide. And that woman opened up her mouth and she all kinds of stuff started shaking and moving, honey. She sound like some honey that just stepped out of heaven. Okay. What's the other one too? Her voice is, I can't even remember her name now. She's a singer too, honey. Just powerful as Patti LaBelle. I can go on. Aretha Franklin. They can reach into realms that Mahalia Jackson. They can reach in the realm. They shift the whole atmosphere. Shift people's thinking and everything when they go to opening their mouth. Okay? So yes, power in your words. They say a lot of us don't know how to know the power of our words and the power of our mind, and our mind and our mouth be raggedy. Just be so raggedy. Your ancestors have they be hitting you in your mouth all the time, telling you to shut up. Be quiet. Nobody tell you to say nothing. Be quiet. Be quiet. What? That's the first thing they're gonna do. Have you be quiet. Be quiet. You know what you're talking about. Don't say that. I don't care if you're thinking. You better not come out your mouth. Be quiet. And you don't realize how you crossing yourself up till you start paying attention to what you're saying. Okay. So that it'd be a lot of shutting up when you get over here, because you're gonna stop crossing yourself up and kind of try to figure things out. Now, even though Hinduism and voodoo is different, As we diving deep over there, it goes so much deep. I'm just sharing the surface level stuff with you guys here, but that even that is juicy. They share so many similarities. And when I start seeing similarity, and this is just me, you guys. I love because we go all of these different systems. Because my thing, I'm tracing ancestral technology. I am chasing. I am looking at this the spiritual systems of ancestors and how they moved abroad. And so when I start looking at these different systems like this, I be like, why does this feel ancestral? Why does this feel like it's ancestral? Because some of it does. It feels ancestral sometimes. Some of it feels ancestral. So when I was looking at Hinduism, I was like, this really feels ancestral. And then I was listening to a man the other day. He was talking about the people from India was from Ethiopia. And you know, we use the Ethiopian Bible in Hoodoo. It's recommended that you use the Ethiopian Bible. And now this man is saying that these people are that the people in India they came from Ethiopia. And I'm saying, what? I'm telling you, when the ancestors tell you something, it don't make sense sometimes. And now I start understanding. I was like, no wonder our ancestors started using. Some of them use Vedic astrology, and we talked a little bit about Vedic astrology and how important Vedic astrology is. Now I understand why they were using it. Um, but we kind of talked about that, and it made sense then when I started looking at everything. I said, now this makes sense why this got into conjure. It makes sense why our ancestors started using this in conjure. Because I mean, it's a better it is a better system to add to Hoodoo to really refine it. It really to look at that it kind of refined uh Hoodoo because it had a lot of indigenous elements in it. Their cosmology, their astrology have a lot of indigenous elements in there. So it's ancient knowledge in their cosmology in their astrology. And so I can see in every occultist that I read on when I'm looking at astrology, all of them have to go, they always go back to Vedic astrology. Even when they have to understand the way the moon looks, the Hindus, they seem to have the most ancient knowledge about the energies of the moon. They're very, very, um, they're very, very knowledgeable of that because that stuff. And then when you start looking at that, that's divine feminine. And a lot of them put that out when they set up Western astrology. They took the divine feminine out of it, and they had the sun and everything. But with Vedic astrology, it's totally different. They include the moon and everything. And when they're doing astrology, it's based on now. They're looking at how astrology is based. And you kind of the way I break down, same way I break down that Hoodoo chart. When you give me your natal chart and I do a Hoodoo spiritual blueprint on it, I break down your chart to what's happening now, what you need to do now. And Vedic astrology do the same thing. They use astrology again to line you up what's coming up now, and that's how it should be used. That's how I use it. And a lot of astrologers think they as well they have abandoned Western astrology, some of them, because they said it's not accurate enough. They rather use a saturnalia. That's another name for it. They rather use the saturnalia or Vedic astrology because it's more accurate. Because it's based on how the planets are affecting you now. They felt like too it has it just has so many benefits to it. Okay, not gonna go in there. I want to really stay on voodoo right now. I'll talk about that another time. But to look at Hinduism and you start looking at it uh, 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 the similarities that it has in voodoo, you start to really understand how it got into conjure. And that's definitely, I took a deep dive because I'm always looking at root work. I'm always looking at things and how they work. Okay. And so, love the chants in there. And that is another way too. You can move your root work. If you're thinking like, hey, I'm not sure about this scripture work. Yeah, it's going to work. Use the ancient technology of your ancestors. Start chanting it. Yes, I felt the way when I went to Paulo, Brazil last summer. I believe it feels that way because all mankind's come from Africa. That's what they say. I'm finna drop another, honey, don't get mad at me. And I'm gonna drop another bomb on y'all. And like I said, when you start talking to ancestors, they tell you a whole different story. And I know what these people say. Them people ain't gonna tell you where you really come from. You think somebody who don't want you to, stealing stuff from you and all this stuff gonna want you to know where you come from? Absolutely not. And I done broke this on down, but I'm gonna break it on down for you, some more. And like the ancestors told me, I'm gonna share it with you. And then the people ain't talking about this. Not many people talking about this, but they told me years ago, honey, everybody's not from Africa. They are not. They got you thinking that everybody from Africa, honey. A lot of these people, they think that you think they come from Africa. That a lot of these people are from the America. They got it in reverse. I'm telling you this now. You got more pyramids. You got more ancient artifacts that's older than over there in Africa, right there in America. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Thank you, Dimples. Thank you, baby. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I know that trip you out. And I know you said, "Well, why they saying they was in Africa?" I think it was a trick the whole time. Okay, I think I don't know why I just think that's a trick, and then this is why I say this. I think they set that up a long time ago. And why I say this, you remember that Prince Howard Mason? Okay, that Prince Howard Mason. That man was from and I think it's a boule agenda. I think it's a boule agenda. That's what I think that is. Because you had that man, Prince Howard, that man came from England. He was sort of come from a royal family. Okay. That man came over here and that man went over there in America and he thought he could go up in that lodge. And of course, they had that racism, all that stuff going on. They wouldn't let him in there. So he didn't got 14, 15 other freedmen. None of these men are from Africa. Absolutely none of these men are from Africa. You got this Moor, which is Prince Hal. He was black man. He was from England. He was over there from Europe. He go get 15 freedmen who were indigenous Americans, and they open up an African lodge. Why are you doing that? Y'all, none of y'all are from Africa. So why are you opening up an African lodge? And there we go. We have the Prince Hall Masons. We got what else we got? We start having these fraternities, sororities. We start having these Freemasons up in these churches. Now I want to know who helped him set up, who told, why would you set up an African lodge? None of you are from Africa. None of you. Go look that up. Well, none of them men from Africa and they set up an African lodge. I think that was a boule again to get again a setup to get indigenous Americans out of their home. See that too with them. What is the name of that place? Liberia. A lot of them are Americans that Harriet Tubman helped them get over there. But a lot of them people over there, they boule. Frederick Douglass, boule. Martin Luther King, boule. Louis Farrakhan, boule. And see, Martin Luther King didn't want to tell it to the last minute. But you should have been telling our folks this is our land and all this kind of stuff. Okay? Should have been doing that. You telling them that they tried, I don't know what our ancestors was doing. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at them. Man, why did you do that like that? You integrated them and all that stuff. You should have stayed segregated. That's why he said I integrated my people into a burning house. He was telling you about these land patents, them taking our land and all that stuff. And that's when they wanted to get rid of him. Because that was not the plan. That's not what you're there. You for there to keep these people dumbed down, not to think. They supposed to follow you to so that we can keep them dumbed down. Now you saying stuff that is going against the lodge because their allegiance is to the lodge, is to the Mason. When you see ancestors that do that kind of stuff, their allegiance is not to the ancestors anymore. Their allegiance is to the lodge. They would whether their eyes be cut out, their throat be cut. That's the oath they take now. Okay, a lot of us are up under those type of generational curses where our ancestors went into this Freemason and took these oaths because they said they would rather have their eyes gouged out, their throat slit, their stomach cut out before they tell anyone. And then now our ancestors got all type of respiratory problems, throat problems, mental problems, and all this stuff because they have gave these permission. They have sacrificed uh their um their family to these spirits. No, everybody ain't from Africa. It's just false. Don't even make sense. Some people don't even gotta. They don't even have the artifacts in America, and we just missed that. Again, we're going with somebody that they repeat, just like they repeat stuff long enough. They brainwash you with it, but that's not true. You got Polynesians. Them folks is black. I was sitting somewhere in California. Went to the mall in California, and I was an old Filipino man over there, and I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was looking at his rings and stuff. And he said, you Filipino?" And I said, "No, sir, I'm not that Filipino. I'm black." He said, "No, you're not." That man looked at me. He didn't believe me. I said, "Sir, I'm black. My mom's black. My dad's black. Everybody's black. Sir, I don't understand. I've never seen a Filipino." He said, "You look just like them." He started describing my head, my features, and all this stuff. He said, you Filipino." I couldn't convince that man that I was black. You understand me? And in his mind, that he ain't talking about that. Okay, he's talking about how I look. And see, you got to be careful with them Eastern Stars because these people they taking oaths now. Do I think they understand the magnitude of the things? I don't even think they understand the occult and the rituals. I don't think some of them understand that what they're really saying because a lot of them got to go in there blind. They got to manipulate you a little bit, make you think that you're not doing what you're doing, but you're actually doing that. And then your family be out jail. I'm dealing with that right now with my grandfather. My grandfather was a Freemason. He was in a railroad. Most of them in the railroad, they had to become Freemasons. That's the only way they can move up. I'm looking at everybody in my family uh uh passed away, and my grandpa almost 100 years old, ain't been touched, ain't got no health problems. How does that happen? How do you bury all your children? Something is very ominous about that. Something is not right with that. And he didn't spend no time with them or nothing. And they will tell you when these Freemasons, when they make these oaths, their biological family begin to pass away. But the new family, it don't touch the new family. It only touches the family. And most of them, they remarry after they take these oaths. They life go to hell. I don't care what they telling you. And their allegiance is to the lodge. It's no longer to the ancestors. It's no longer to the preacher. And I think that's why them churches is raggedy like that. When Hoodoo was up in there, them churches weren't exploiting people like that. They was praying for people, fasting for people. You were seeing the ancestors, God moving at church. And even them Freemasons came in with that prosperity preaching and exploiting people and stuff. That church got raggedy. That's just my opinion, the way the ancestors explained it to me. And you can take that, you ain't got to believe it. But I trust the ancestors. I checked it out. It looked that way to me. And they keeping it going with these young people, keeping them in the boule and these sororities and all that stuff. Their allegiance is not to the people; it's to these things. It's to them. And you can say that ain't going on in the Freemasons. Yes, y'all do. Y'all mimic the whole religion like it's a whole religion. Y'all have that master in there, the lodge master. Y'all serve him like he God. You gotta do everything he say. He is the holy see in their lodge. He is God in that lodge. These people bow down to the demiurge, the God in this world. Okay, it ain't the most high. Okay, you understand that? I don't care what they telling you, talking about it helped me be a better man. No, it helped you throw away your ancestors. That's what the hell it's doing. This is helping you get rid of your family. You don't know what you're doing. And sometimes they go into these rituals and they is blind. They don't know what's going on. They have to repeat this stuff. They have to thoroughly learn that. They walk around. They can't say that you ain't doing no occult science in there because what happens is the people that be up in there, they come out of there and start writing books. about the occult stuff they learn in Freemasonry. So they don't sit up there and tell no story. Okay? Don't sit up there and then you stole all that stuff from the divine feminine because you're sitting up there with that apron on with the M in front of it. Again, the divine feminine, the great mother. That's what they represent. And none of that, all that stuff come from the great mother. Matter of fact, all that come from there. Y'all took that and made that phallic worship. Okay? So they just telling you a story. You ain't from no Africa. That don't even make no sense. The Polynesian people from Africa, the Melanesian people from Africa, the Samoan people, all them people, all them dark skinned people, all them from Africa. Come on now. And you sitting up here looking at artifacts over there in America that's older than some of the artifacts in Africa. You looking at corn. Corn is indigenous to the Americas. It started there. You can look at some of the agriculture. It's gonna tell you the truth. Look at the agriculture, and then you start seeing this corn go all over the world. And what did they call what did our hunter gatherers mothers call it? They called it the three sisters because they would grow the corn, the beans, and the squash on top of each other. And it was called the three sisters, the way they grew it. And you got to remember this is a matriarch global empire. So those women, they were feeding the whole nation. There was a global matriarch empire. That's what they hiding from you. They know everybody from Africa. That don't even make sense. You got your folks that said they was already here. They saying that we're the oldest people here on this planet. We would have been everywhere. Everywhere they go, they dig, they find black people. You keep on digging. Keep on digging. You keep on digging long enough, you're gonna see somebody look like me. You want original nowhere. So stop telling everybody they come from Africa. That's just a bold face lie. The ancestors said, no, that's not true. So just stop lying. You stop believing these people. Your ancestors never did tell you that you was from Africa. Go talk to your grandma and your grandpa. Them people, they never told you that. Them people that is lying to you. Your ancestors told you was Indian. That's what you is. That's what you is. They ain't never said nothing about no Africa. Go back to no Africa doing nothing. Them folks ain't lying to you. Now these people, they sit up here lying to you, brainwashing you, telling you from Africa. And if you told your ancestors that, they're gonna look at you and say, who? Girl, you ain't that, you Blackfoot. Girl, you ain't that, you Cree. Girl, you ain't that, you Sox. Girl, you ain't that, you Potawatomi. They're gonna tell you something else. They're gonna tell you your Indian name or something. They gonna tell you from Africa. They're gonna look at you like you crazy where you hear that from, because we ain't never told you that. They're gonna look at you crazy, and they gonna look at you crazy, be like, hey, who told you that? I ain't never told you that, girl. They lying. That's not who we is. Them folks is lying. Okay? Them folks sitting up there lying. They just part of that they brainwashing technique to keep you confused and strip you from that land. You've been on that land for thousand years from the beginning of the time. Them folks is lying. And they got all these mounds here. They telling you that these people was already here. They try to make them look like they were Native Americans, but when they asked the Native Americans did they build the mounds, they said no, they were already here. All this stuff was here when we got here. They admit they didn't. That's why you y'all Native Americans, you need to be quiet because you wasn't here. You didn't build none of this. And if you was those people, how come we don't see it? You don't see none of that. Black people are only people that still being great. We the only people still being great. If you was that great, why come you still ain't great? Despite the odds, black people, we still great. We still doing fabulous stuff. What are you talking about? Okay, we know you didn't do that, so you sit on down. Ain't nobody trying to be you. We ain't trying to make deals and be narcs and snitches and stuff. We ain't trying to be that because that's what that is. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. You working with the federal government. You're a federal government funded people. Nobody want to be that. Hell no, we don't want to be Native Americans. That'd be a disgrace to our ancestors. Okay? You got to deal with that. Talking about we want to be you. Hell no, we don't want to be you. You compromised. You're not who you think you are. You're not that. Okay? You Asians from another place, the Siberians, that's who you are. You're not indigenous to the Americas. We're not saying that. When we say we're Indian, we're not talking about you. People have told you that, but you keep on, keep on, keep on. Okay, you're not indigenous to the Americas. You're not indigenous. You probably was born there. That don't mean you from there. You got people being born in different places. They ain't from there. Their parents got there, lived there, and they were born there. It's just like me. I had my daughter in California, but we from Arkansas. But she was born in California. But she's still from Arkansas. Don't make no sit down and think about it, okay? That's what need to happen. So I'm gonna switch gears here. We have talked about that. I'm gonna get off my soapbox about that because I can go on and on with that. But some people is lying to you, and they getting ready to find out that America's real old. They're getting ready to disclose that information. I don't know when, but the ancestors told me that a long time ago. They see when we talk about that, people think we crazy. That's why a lot of things the ancestors tell me I don't talk on until I start saying it because if I talked on it, you would think I was crazy. You be like, that ain't true. People that did me like that so much, I just keep my mouth shut. Okay, I just keep my mouth shut. I don't say nothing. I'd rather write a book about it and let you look at it before I sit up here and tell you about it and you be calling me crazy. All railroad, all the railroads Harriet Truman took to free us. They use it now. I bet you they do. Okay, you was already here, and folks got you thinking you from somewhere else. Some people is lying, and the truth ain't in them. And every time they dig somewhere, even in these European countries, they dig. Even Europe itself is named after a black woman. So I don't know why you would think that when you dig deep enough, you ain't gonna see black people. You gonna see that Europea was a black woman. So everywhere you dig, we was there, was there, was there, was there, was there. Okay, they start whitewashing folks and making it. You see what they did to Abraham Lincoln, made that man look white. And I knew as a child looking at that man was black. They don't care how much they painted him white. I always knew that man was black. And I don't know how the ancestors just put that in me like that, okay? Okay, so we have a new moon that's coming up on the 21st. I hope all of you guys are ready for it. I was gonna give some little goodies here today for you, maybe some recommendations for you for this new moon. And so this new moon is going to be bringing in some energetic energy that is going to require us to clean up and get sharp. This moon is a fixing. This moon is about fixing what is broken, clearing what's cluttered, and putting life back in order. Virgos don't play with mess. This energy cuts through the confusion so you can see straight. It's a healer's moon, a good for tending to the body, the mind, the spirit, and for setting intentions that stick because they're built on solid ground. Root work done under this moon takes hold in the everyday health, money, work, and keeping peace in the home. It's about pruning back what no longer serves and planting seeds of discipline, balance, and steady growth. They're saying it here, hon. They're saying of everything I just said here. Okay. Well, we've been kind of talking about with ancestral veneration. Okay, for the water signs, you need to watch out for a tendency to get lost and get overwhelmed. You might feel some self-doubt or feel closed off rather than expressive. You might resist the practical because feelings could feel messy. So really watch your emotions. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Really watch what's going on with you emotionally right now. Probably need to do some emotional clarity and boundary work, cleansing baths, boundary rituals, herbs that you probably want to use are lavender and chamomile or rose. That's for the water signs. For the earth signs, and I have this somewhere, a little bit of this posted on TikTok somewhere. Uh, the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What you need to watch out for this new moon: perfectionism, overworking, being overly critical of self or others, resistance to change, even if certain structures are no longer serving. But it's going to help you. Again, strengthening your routines, health, and structure. Because, you have some fixed signs, and I think Taurus is a fixed sign. Take your time, make small goals. Okay? Make sure you're setting small goals. Don't try to get out there too fast. Small goals means a big success. Okay. Root work, grounding rituals, decluttering, crystal work. Probably want to work with a smoky quartz, or jasper and do some cleansing. Cedar, if you got some cedar, you can do some cleansing with cedar. Okay. For the fire signs, watch out for frustration with details, feeling constrained, wanting to rush, skipping the groundwork. So, resistance to slowing down or doing small steps. So, again, slowing things down. You want to look at the details. I was like that today. I had something going on the other day and I was about to skip the details. Messed myself up if I had to slow down. I find myself, and that they're not wrong because I had to give myself and sit myself down and look at some things. So again, slowing down. We are initiators. We can go out and get stuff started, but two, we need to slow down and think about what we're doing. Okay, what the steps to doing it. So right now, the fire signs: the Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, inner work, refining beliefs, patience, burn old patterns on paper, fire offerings, grounding herbs, are sandalwood and Palo Santo. Okay, and that's for the fire sign: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Earth signs. Watch out for overthinking, scattering energy among too many ideas, analysts, and paralysis. Okay, you're gonna paralyze yourself because you're thinking too much. Okay, get out your head. I don't want to get out your head a little bit. How do you feel? How do you feel? That's important. Get back in your body and try to figure out how you feel. Possible disconnection between thought and embodied action. Gemini and the earth signs: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Mental reset right now, focus, clarity. You probably want to be doing some journaling, working with incense and maybe the sound of your voice. Uh, your your herbs are peppermint and rosemary. You can drink that as a tea and just focus on your goals and how you're going to get those goals. Those are the things that you need to be focused on right now. Okay, when that new moon comes in. So it's a lot of sitting with ourselves, maybe a little shadow work. It's probably going to help a lot of us out. Okay. But again, it's taking it easy this new moon. A lot of stuff is going on. Taking that time to sit with yourself and planting new seeds and new goals and watering them as they grow. Okay. So we covered a lot here today. We talked about spiritual communication. So now you know you what it need, you'll get more if you were in our community. I'll break it down even more. You'll get the exercises and all that stuff and start getting your stuff together. But I try to share as much as I can here to give you to help you understand uh ancestor veneration and all that it entails. And help you understand hoodoo because you can't have hoodoo without ancestor veneration. Okay. You need spiritual communication to know if your magic is going to work. And we don't do hoodoo. We don't just go out there and grab stuff somebody showed us and do it tomorrow. Is it the right time? Is there a star working against my work? What star is going to work and help my work? See, we break that all down and why our ancestors said there was a time for everything and why they was using that almanac. Okay. So if they're showing you something, you know, ask your ancestors. Look at the time you should be doing it. Okay, I want you to have success with it and know how it works. And that's not being told to you. Again, if you're interested in learning hoodoo from the top to the bottom, understanding the spiritual science of it, you're welcome to our hoodoo community where we have a plenty resources, lectures, discussions on things like this to help you understand it. So you know what you're doing. You ain't got to be reaching out here and looking at stuff and you don't quite understand it. Okay. You need to understand what you're doing and then have your mind needs to be in alignment with what you're doing. Okay. Anybody have any questions for me? Anything? Any insights? Anything y'all want to share? Okay. I covered a lot of stuff. Okay. Now, if you want to, like I said, if you're interested in a Hoodoo spiritual blueprint, they're $15 now. Let me put my email in the chat, Lord. If you're interested in that, DM me with your time, date, and place of birth. I'll get you out of the invoice when that's processed. I'll get to work on it. You'll have it within a day or so. Ooh, Lord, I can't even type. There we go. Okay. You can always see the whole thing on YouTube, on the YouTube channel Sacred Goddess. I didn't say anything that you don't already have over there. Okay, you already have this information. I just reviewed what we went over there. Just gave them a brief description of what we went on over there. And we've already went through spiritual communication thoroughly over there. You got all the lectures to the books, and you got the book. So you get a lot of inside information. Here I just do a general discussion about what we covered in Patreon. You usually get it first. And then after you get it here, I'll come here and try to share it with two TikTok supporters and YouTube supporters. I'll come here and try to share a little bit with them and kind of keep them up to date with what we got going on over there and what to expect if they decide to join our community. I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you go. Um, and I'm just happy that you were in it live. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your engagement. And I'll be probably coming back again to share other subjects with you. Um, we'll probably be talking a little bit about astrology soon. That's probably where we're going to jump into to help you understand how we use astrology in magic. And see, a lot of y'all don't know that that's the key to your magic working. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. And we're diving deep over there in our community. We break it all the way down over there. I mean, there's some juicy stuff. I was excited just talking about it. So in the lecture. So we'll come back here and we'll share a brief uh, description on how you use astrology in your magic. Okay, you guys take